Good morning, everybody. Happy 4th of July if you're in the U.S. Happy 4th of July if you're not in the U.S. Happy Monday for everybody. And here I am. And I keep hanging down. All right. I was working yesterday on the cover picture. Now, I think that my partner is going outside to pull weeds while it's still cool. But her battle plan is. Anyway, so it is time to get cracking. We are working on covers today, or at least theoretically covers. Right. So looking at the layout and the design of this, I'm actually not that bothered by it per se. Kind of feeling like maybe my design's kind of I mean, the design's not bad, but Ken is right. One of the biggest problems we're running into right now is that in this center section right here, where Alex is, she's taking up way too much space. So the problem I've got is that in design mode, we have to accept what her setup is at this point in time by flattening it down so that I can do work with it. Right? And what we can do is right here, we're kind of doing there was something somebody had said in this magazine. So I get Imagine FX, one of my favorite magazines. You guys can give me free subscriptions with, but I use Imagine. I like Imagine FX. It's a drawing magazine for digital artists, and they talk. It's not just digital artists, but I mean that's what they start with is digital artists, and so it's a magazine that covers sort of digital art. And in this issue, this is like the big issue for me because we had talked about this a number of times. I feel so I learned the technique of using Daz Studio to lay down the initial artwork. I learned that technique in 2004, 2005. We were using 3D models in college, and I was like, well, why can't I just trace the 3D models? I mean, wouldn't that save me a bunch of time, right? And so I did, and some other kid, and I say kid because we were all kids at that time, right? We were in our early 30s. Some other kid at the time said, well, if you're just tracing, you're not really drawing, right? I mean, and he meant well. He didn't mean insult by that at all. And over time, that's eaten at me a little. And one of the things that's really interesting is this is an entire layout on using exactly my process. You use Daz Studio. Right here you can see you use Daz Studio to create the using Daz Studio. He's using Daz Studio, which, I mean, you guys can look at it and it looks amazingly like the interface that we've seen with Daz Studio, right? And then he exports the file, he messes with it, and until he gets a 3D render that he likes. And then he literally takes the 3D render into Photoshop and traces it. Right? I mean, he's not even apologizing for it or anything. You know, nobody's giving him a second thought. Now, I have oft said that I make a point, because of that, I make a point to draw without maquettes from time to time. Make sure I still can, but it takes longer. Open the Gaussian blur filter, fix the radius to 30 pixels with this layer in lighten mode. So let's take a look at that. I'm going to take her. We're going to do this trick and see if this works for us. So, switch back over here. I'm going to take this ink layer here of her. I'm going to duplicate it. And then I'm going to take the Gaussian blur. Under the blur, Gaussian blur. I'm going to set it to 30. Right, because he says 30. It kind of blurs out everything there. And then he says, put it light. Take light. He's not wrong. Look at that. Makes her look like she's glowing. That's pretty cool, actually. Not gonna lie, that's cool. It's a cool effect. I mean, maybe I like that a lot. Okay, well, here's a good idea. I also think that part of our problem is going to be this background. I'll bet you it's not as bad. And it's a shame because I really like where we were going with that background. But if I take this out of the system, take the background out, it's not as noisy, it's not as complicated. So maybe what we need to do is fix this. The first thing we probably need to do. We had a red going, but I'm wondering if maybe what we need to do is take from here and go to like a black. Go for a deeper blue. Let's see what happens. Yeah. All right, that's too transparent. right? It has a much richer color. Right. Actually, I like it better when it was dull. It lets their uniform stand out. Right. We'll give that a shot. We had this layer, which did this, but I feel like that's not helping us anymore. It was cool on that other cover, but it's not cool here. So take that, delete it. We're going to do this. We're going to take, so the opposite of blue is going to be orange. You can see all the way across here on the other side of the field down here by my name. I'm at blue. I'm going to hit the exact opposite of this because that'll look the best, right? And on this layer, we're going to take, and I'm going to do this. We're going to fill that with an orange gradient going the other direction. Okay. We're going to take that, and we're going to cut it up like so. I'm going to go in here and then with the eraser tool, pull the top. I feel like those don't make sense. Now we need to take the title. Reverse gradient it so it's white. So read it because obviously it's no longer against the light background, it's the dark background. All right. It only took 2 hours to get to this point. So, I mean, if it's horrible and terrible and doesn't work, you can still fix it. I'm still trying to figure out whether I don't know. I'm not sure I like it. I'm not sure I like where we're headed. We can't do that again. And gives her an ethereal glow, and that works. I feel like we also have to work on it. I don't know. This is feeling overwhelming. Like there's too much kind of going on here in this. So I'm going to go on ahead and save it. I don't know. It feels overwhelming. I don't know. Something's not right. So we'll go on ahead and save it. And then I'll bump out of it. And let's go find another page to mess with. Because that's just not, something's not clicking on that one. And I'm having some problems with it. So. Good morning, Brent. Well, I knew I wasn't happy with the original cover. So that's okay. And I knew I wasn't going to keep it. So last night I was like thinking I would mess with it a little and kind of see what happens. But the honest to goodness truth is all it did was just irritate me. So. I'm now kind of like seized up. I'm like, I don't know. Yeah. So I'm going to go back in here and fix some of the other things we were working on. So, okie dokie pokey okey smoky. Time to set fire to a planet. How you doing this morning? got out of bed, but that's a thing. So there's part of it. Oh man, there's a button for this. Move to Twitch. I don't blame you. 3-day weekend, yeah. 3-day weekend, yay! Where we celebrate our country's independence and freedom by border rounds. All right. I'm just going through here and just painting ends. Just going through here and setting fire to cities. That's what I do, apparently. Cities are still burning. It's been a few days. There might even be volcanic activity, I would think. You know what I mean? Like, I think there might be mountains on fire and stuff. Oh, pop, 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 pop. So I feel like we haven't gotten even to the worst of it. No us. I'm working on it. Hey, Colton. How you doing today, bro? You're like, I have the day off. And now we get it. Now we have to Colton feel bad. It's like, no, wait a minute. How did I get in here? You can definitely join me, buddy. You can always join me. I would love having a drawing buddy. You want to join me? Especially since I'm completely trashing a city. I feel very Godzilla-like. Yeah. Okay. Do you the link shouldn't be that far up from the on the Quack page. On the Quack thing. Oh, hey, look at that. Oh, you can join it. Now he's got to figure out how to make OBS work. Like, how does OBS work again? What's the button for that?
Right.
Good morning, Colton. How you doing?
Not bad. You?
Okay. I'm not enjoying the fireworks thing.
I'm not either. They've been going off.
I was okay with like the little guys, but they keep firing off these mortars.
Yeah,
and those
same.
Those are the ones that get me. They actually last night I started getting the shakes, so I was like, really?
Yeah. It's just annoyance because I'm like they're doing it all the way until 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
and I'm just like they stop like for a good period, but like when you go from like 1:30 till 3, like of like barely any noise, and then next thing you hear is punk punk. I'm like, God damn it!
Right?
Because after you hear the thunk, it's gonna be a new bit of explosion. And you're just like,
yeah, you're gonna get the big boom.
Like I'm just saying here, it's like I haven't been a fan of fireworks since I was like 5. But now, the older I keep getting, I'm like, I fucking hate this holiday.
Right? Exactly. It's like the older I get, the more I'm like, really?
Yeah, and I'm always sitting here like looking at my friends that are like military and whatnot, hate for an actual reason because they hear explosions.
Right.
PTSD. Over here, I'm like, I just hate it.
Right?
Like, it's annoyance.
Well, that's the thing. I have childhood trauma that gives me PTSD about loud noises. That's why I don't like to be startled, right? So I don't watch scary jump movies. Which, no problem. I try not to make it anybody else's problem. But yeah, last night was the first night that I started actually getting kind of the shakes. And I was like, well, this is going to make drawing difficult. But then I think I didn't have childhood trauma. I didn't go to war, you know. So if I'm starting to shake, you know, people who actually like fought overseas have got to be in like horrible shape right now.
Yeah.
I always feel
it's not my favorite time of year. And it's just it's annoying. That's all it is. But it is what it is.
Yeah. Aggravating that the older I get, the more I'm disliking Independence Day. You know what I mean? It's like that's not cool. It shouldn't be.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. So, guess you're not going to Expo either.
I wish I was at Anime Expo.
Fan Expo.
Oh. Is that today? I thought it ended yesterday.
Okay. Maybe it did.
I didn't know they were a 4-day con now.
I don't know if they are. They may not be.
Let me see. I'm really curious.
They may be only a 2-day con.
I thought they were a 3-day. Oh, 1 through. Yep. Yeah, it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
So it was Sunday, but it's over now.
Yeah.
Which is fine by me.
I didn't make it because of work. I worked all day Tuesday. Then I finally had Sunday off, but I worked like a 16-hour shift on Saturday. And then I had yesterday off, so I was like, I'm not doing anything. I kind of just relaxed and like did all my stuff that I need to do around here, kind of. I was pretty much just probably just doing laundry. What else did I do? I know I left the house for like a minute. But yeah, and then today I got to go into my second job for a little bit. So.
Second job, wow.
Yeah, I picked up a second job so I can pay off my build my new computer.
Gotcha.
My boss at FedEx was wondering, he's like, why don't you just work here? I'm like, I want a break from here, and you guys ask too much from me already.
Mm-hmm.
And taxes will take all of it out anyway, so I'm not going to get it.
Right? It won't help you any.
Like, And he just goes quiet. I'm like, you're not gonna win this argument. Oh, that one's over.
Yeah, noise canceling headphones for Brent.
I need better. I have headphones that I could wear while I sleep, but they just, I don't know, they just don't feel right. All depends on how you sleep.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's see. Reference board.
I am trash in a city.
I was wondering what you were doing.
Yeah, well, they're finally landing on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
The city's got to be trashed pretty good. So.
Does this have a timer? It does.
There
We're
we
doing
go.
art studies. Yeah, one of my every Tuesday I draw with this group. We do random stuff like this week, and if you miss it, he puts up all the reference boards that he made,
Mm-hmm.
and it just says get them in as soon as you can.
Oh, that's cool.
So I'm like, all right, cool. I started this one, and I was like, oh yeah, Guy's on. I'll watch Guy. If he wants a friend, I can sit here. But yeah, we do them for 30 minutes. That's a 30-minute piece right there. Quick, done. Moving to the next one.
Nice.
So this theme was Red Cabin, or yeah, Little Red Cabin, I think is what he called it.
Maybe it's a little too much. Oh, that's kind of wild.
This one's Red House. Whoa.
Not what I'm looking for, but still wild.
Yeah, Red House. That was the movie. Okay. Alright, let's get to.
No. I'm trying to find a good brush for fire here.
For fire?
Yeah, I've got to set fire to buildings, so they're not just smoking; they're still burning.
Mm. How far away are you from
Altitude? We're at altitude. I mean, probably. I don't know.
So in real ideal, like you would still see the smoke, but you may not really see that much fire.
Well, that's the thing. That's kind of the point, right?
Oh, okay.
Some of the buildings are so badly trashed.
Uh-huh.
Like you have, like oil refineries or something that are completely. I mean, from altitude, you can see an oil refinery still burning.
Right.
I mean, a lot of it would just be dots on the ground to indicate fire, but it's kind of the point I'm trying to get at is that some of them are still burning quite a bit.
Did you go to Fan Expo or no?
No, I didn't go at all.
Same.
I wasn't going to go even if we'd gotten tickets, but Troy's out of town for one. And two, everything is becoming such a COVID mess nowadays that it's like I don't want to mess with it. You know what I mean?
True.
I mean, people are. We've had COVID break out like 3 times in our group now.
Ouch.
Everybody's vaccinated and everybody's gotten boosters and stuff.
Uh-huh.
And stuff, but it's still that doesn't make it any more fun. I don't want it.
Right.
I'm vaccinated and stuff. That just means it's going to be really miserable, but it's still going to be really miserable. Mm-hmm. I don't want it. I do have a fire brush. I'm over in Wallop's stuff trying to figure out what's a good brush here that I could use. I don't know. Oh, textured blender. Textured blender will do. Oh yeah, look at that. Blends with texture. Well, go figure. So. I always have to kind of like guess what Wallop's saying because, of course, he wrote all of his brushes in Chinese. And I can get like some clue off of it because I can read the Chinese characters, but it could be anything. Like I can read the character for fire, like here is a fire, says fire, but what it creates, it looks like is just a bunch of smoke. So it's not fire necessarily. Here's another fire brush, but that makes this kind of wild square thing, which maybe means that this is a brand, as opposed to a fire, it's a brand. So even being able to read the brushes doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to...
Oh, they had the hobbits there?
Yeah, they had all 4 hobbits there.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
It was pretty cool.
I just looked at that. I was like, oh. Like, one friend's pictures popped up. I was like, oh, hey, look. There were hobbits.
Yeah, 2 of my cosplay friends were there.
That's awesome. Yeah, a lot of my friends were doing the Artist Alley side that I saw. Or cabling in some way of helping out someone. I was like, okay.
Yeah, we had a starship there. That was cool. So Tiberian was there. Tiburon's name. Tiburon. That was cool.
Nice.
George is not getting attention.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to make me know about that.
Yep.
So, this is Brent's new thing. He's really into the idea of a school bus, which is cool. If you're wondering what he's talking about with schoolies.
He wants a school bus?
Yeah, he wants to get a school bus and then convert it into like a mobile home sort of thing. I think it'd be kind of cool.
Cool. I forgot that was the brush I was using. Not a brush I need, but it's still cool.
Yeah, since my rebuild, I've been kind of having some fights here with things. Like last night, I just had no pressure sensitivity. I was like,
really?
Yeah.
Weird.
It's because the Windows ink was incompatible with Clip Studio. And which is the controller for your normal like brush stuff. And so it was incompatible with it, and
then it updated.
No, I just switched it off because
there you go.
Other whatever thing. But yeah, it caused no end of trouble with my system, so we had to fight with that, and that was unpleasant. Right. So anyway, but we're good now.
good. I think Brent just likes school buses.
Right?
You don't have to bring your daughter into this. I
Right?
understand.
He's contaminating his kid. He's probably also turned her into a Star Wars fan. I mean, we say that like I'm not converting my child into a Trekkie myself.
Attempting.
Right? Attempting. Right? I mean, to be fair, it is a logical thinking process, you know, to take a school bus and convert it into a mobile house, because you really can turn it into more than just a mobile home because it's larger.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Right.
I'm sitting here being snarky, but I'm only really being snarky because, you know, as Chang was doing, I'm just busting his chops. Yeah, with this housing market, yeah, I'm not arguing with you at all. What is that?
Mm-hmm.
What was that? That's a noise.
Which one?
Guess it's not coming from you then. Sounded like some kind of, I don't know.
Was it a rumble?
Huh?
It might have been a car coming that drove
Yeah, it
past
was
the
a
window.
car. It was definitely a car.
Okay. So yeah, it was the car going past my window.
Gotcha.
The normal sounds of my house. Of my
Right? You've gotten so adjusted to it that you don't even notice anymore.
Nope. Or I just get annoyed. After that,
Right.
I'm annoyed. Oh.
No. I'm messing around with brushes, but it's fun. And not the brush I want. It looks cool, but not the brush I want. Now all the conspiracy theorists are going to think that the kitty wake was causing all this damage. With all the chemtrails that spread. Oh, hey. So I get this magazine. I want to tell you, because this is great news. This is like amazing news. So I get this magazine called Imagine FX.
Yeah.
You've probably seen it.
Yeah, I have a few of them.
Mm-hmm. This episode is all about manga, but one of the cool things is in the back here, it's got an entire article on how to use Daz Studio to pre-pose your entire scene, trace it, and then use that. And I'm like, I'm vindicated.
That's awesome. That's literally going off what you needed.
It's almost although he's actually got like 4 or 5 steps that are more complicated than mine. I'm like, well, you could have saved yourself some space here and there, but that's okay.
Right.
But, he was totally saying the same thing I am, which is it's a speed thing.
Yep.
Makes things go faster. So, but
I was talking to my friend, she's in concept art and all that. He was saying the same things. Like a lot of times you start seeing 3D is because it's just a speed thing after a while.
Mm-hmm.
This is because you can prop up a whole scene and just kind of mess around with it for a little bit and then be like done. But that's also where photo bashing comes in too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but we don't consider photo bashing to be a thing we can do. I mean, we can't photo bash. So, I mean, like, I couldn't make a comic out of photo bashing and then release it. You know what I mean?
Technically could, but I wouldn't.
Well, I mean, it's not that. It's that's not an art form, really, because the art form is the photography. I would think. As someone who does photography, I'd be kind of like, well,
right.
You know what I mean? Like, I would feel like that the artist was the photographer, and I don't know. I mean, maybe.
No, I'm with you there. I'm just saying that I was like, it's another reason like a lot of people start doing photo bashing and whatnot. Like I look at, there was this one girl that I was talking to that's like, oh, I'm thinking about going into this, and I'm like, oh, cool. What are you wanting to do? And she showed me a whole bunch of pictures of like what they had for like book covers and things like that. I'm like, those are all photo bash.
Right.
And she's like, what? And I was like, that's photo bashing. You definitely want to learn a lot of Photoshop. She's like, oh, okay. I'm like, I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying that that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
That's what you're looking for.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm even like nervous about using brushes because somebody else made the brush, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to like Daz Studio and the 3D programs, somebody else made that model. But
I mean, that's the same thing with the photo
quite
brushes.
significantly, you know?
Yeah. I'd say if you're having the same problem like that with your brushes, though, that's the same concept, though, with your brushes. Someone made it for people to use.
That's true.
And
I mean,
a lot
frankly,
of Photoshop, but I'm just saying this as a kind of contradicting my own stuff, I guess. But getting into like the whole photo bashing side of it, a lot of it is stock images. People get paid for stock images.
Also true. If you're taking a stock image, that's not. I don't feel like that's a stealing artwork. That's exactly what you're supposed to be doing with them.
Right. And there's
My
also
biggest
people out there
problem
though
is a lot
that
of
like
people
take their own
photo bash.
pictures and then they photo bash them.
Yeah, that's where I have a problem.
But also, when do you know that it's not theirs?
Yeah.
It's such a hard one to fight.
Agreed.
Like there's some like students at my school that have tried the whole like, oh, we'll just kind of plagiarize this to get the class over with. Teacher doesn't notice it because they don't know that genre or whatnot.
Mhm.
And then next thing you know, someone or another teacher sees it and is like, wait a second, I made that.
Right?
And they're just like, what? And so then the student gets in a lot of trouble because of it.
Oh yeah.
But it takes, at first they think like, oh cool, I got my A, I'm moving on in the world, all that stuff, and then next thing you know, someone will find it sooner or later.
Oh yeah. That's. I don't know. That's sort of the way I feel about it. Is like, you know, yeah, I don't have any problem with stock photo. Obviously, that's.
Mhm.
I mean, with stock photo, you're in the exact same position. You know, like, well, as long as, you know.
No, it's a good way to make money too. I know a lot of people make money in stock photos.
Yeah, if I could figure out what to take pictures of, I could do that and make lots of money.
It's anything, you just kind of throw them up there and hope people just start paying
I've
for
done
them.
that, and I've made like 20 cents or 30 cents so far.
Mm-hmm.
So clearly, I'm not on whatever people need.
Right. Now, I was trying to tell it to my friend. I was like, dude, because he was looking at trying to do something else with photography. I'm like, build portfolio, not portfolio, but like people reference.
Mm-hmm.
Like, artists will buy the crap out of those.
Yeah, biggest
Like,
problem
what?
with people references is that you have to get permission.
Yeah, which isn't hard.
It isn't hard, but it's
No one wants to do.
Yeah, it's well, I mean, it is hard to some degree. I guess I should say it is hard because you can't just go out and shoot crowd scenes. You have to go find models, pay them, and then go set up a crowd scene to take a picture. You know what I mean? Like it's you
Well,
can't.
if you're trying to do crowd stuff, no, I was just more talking about just basic body setups.
Oh yeah, that's actually pretty easy.
Yeah, you get one person, but like paying one person just to do a model, and like a good portion of the time, depending on what it is, some people will just do it for free.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to know how to talk to people and ask them.
Yeah.
stuff.
Oh yeah. I've had model work done before that was exactly that.
Mm-hmm. No, it's just stuff that I was trying to get one of my friends, a photographer, like to look at other stuff because he's like, I'm not doing anything. I'm like, cool, here, try this.
Mm-hmm.
Here's something different. Like, it may not be what you're thinking, but you do realize the most successful artists in the world have multiple streams of revenue. They don't just be like, oh, this is my one thing and I'm done.
Yep. My biggest problem is that I'm not good at that.
I'm just saying. Yeah.
I'm
not the best at it either. I can admit that.
it's kind of sad that the most oh, did you see this picture? Look at this picture. Or look at this page, I guess.
Hold on. Let me see. Nice.
Really having
That's
fun with
good.
my brushes. You know what I mean? Like, so anyway, yeah, you
That's
can go
awesome.
ahead. Sorry.
No, you're good.
I was just like, hey, that page looked cool too.
Look at what I did.
Look at how cool I am.
Look at the things I made. But yeah, it was the stuff I always try to like get him to realize, because he was like, I want to make this a thing. I want to be professional. I was like, all right, cool. This is how you do it. And he would just be like, and then as soon as he realized what a professional has to do, he shut down.
Right.
Which is a lot of people do that. Like once you realize, like I do it too, almost every day. I'm just like, all right, cool. I should be drawing right now. I should be doing this.
Yep.
And then I'm just like, no, I don't care today. I will deal with that at another time.
You're right. Screw that. I got better things to do with my life.
I'm tired. I just want to play a video game. I don't want to do shit.
Goofball.
Stuff like that. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's tough. And
It is.
It's also, I mean, it's hard to get in here and do this every day. That's why we do the show.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's really hard to get in here, and
For me, it's just been busy with work.
well, yeah. I'm not making you feel guilty.
I
That wasn't my battle plan.
How dare.
I know, right? I know you had like real legit problems that you were working on, so I don't have any problem.
I'm just trying to get my computer up and running, trying to switch jobs for my first job, my day job. And that's been falling through right now, so I'm not gonna let me go, but I'm just trying to get out of it because I don't want to be in it anymore.
Yeah. Don't blame
I
me
don't
there.
like the changes that the industry is making, and it's not. I don't want to be there anymore because of it.
Is this your printing job?
No, this is the FedEx job.
Oh.
The changes that the shipping industry are making right now, and this is going to go for all of them, are all off metrics.
Oh, okay.
Which means they're not thinking about employees or anybody except
Right.
for numbers. And when companies start doing that, means F all you who make this money. So that's kind of where we're at.
It's interesting. I've been having a lot of discussions about business styles and stuff like that recently.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, I mean, this is the newest gripe, is that, you know, Captain Pike on Strange New Worlds is not a captain anybody would ever really follow, because he doesn't yell at anybody and, you know, and punish people, and instead he's like a pretty decent, like, person. And my best friend, you know, I discussed this before, my BFF is Lieutenant Colonel.
Right.
So I showed him Strange New Worlds a couple of like last week, and he was like, yeah, I've got a couple of colonels that are like this, and they're like the best people to work for. So, like, legitimately, he's talking about real people in the real military acting exactly like this, and people are on the forums saying that's unbelievable. Nobody would ever act like Pike in the real military, because Pike hasn't, you know, strung anybody up or punished.
Yeah, because they think the military is like super hardcore,
Right.
yada yada
It's like-
yada.
It's like, well, the thing is that,
Which
some of these
they're not
people are
wrong.
actually ex-military. It's just that they're ex-military from the 80s. And I was
Mhm.
like, the thing is that I think all businesses have learned that you get more out of people if you treat them like people, like real people. You
Yeah.
get more dynamics, you get better results, yada yada yada. I said, on the other side though, you get these people who believe that the only way you're going to get stuff is out of yelling and screaming at people and forcing them to work. And there's like these two different schools of thought.
Right.
And I feel like the yelling and screaming school of thought will get exactly 100% out of people. Yeah, exactly. Like Brent's saying, he said many commanders that act like Pike, which is great. You get people who are in one side or the other. And you can get 100% out of people whenever you yell and scream and rant and rave, but you'll never get 101%. You'll never get the radical thought process. You know what I mean? Like you end up squelching creativity at the same time.
Right.
And so, what happens, I think, is companies end up where where everything is right now, which is they're feeling the pinch. And so what they're doing is they start squelching, they start squeezing people,
Well, they've been making all this profit for the past like 2 years, 3 years now, because of the shipping industry. But also, a lot of these companies and a lot of people aren't realizing America alone in the past like 2 years, or since the pandemic, has lost over 1 million people. All those people you can literally just throw into whatever job and just do it, they're probably dead. We're not seeing those people anymore.
Yeah.
So the people that are actually coming in because they need a job or need whatever, like they're getting screwed. Because that's just how it works. Just industry right now, and that's the part that I'm waiting for to. I don't feel like staying around to wait for because they keep trying to push. Right now, personally, they keep trying to push a program.
Yeah.
That they should have. They keep saying, "Oh, we made it. It's the best thing." Yes, they did make it. They're not a tech company. It's a tech product.
Right.
So it is destroying. Everybody is quitting left and right because of this program because it's not letting you do your job. Or it's turning everybody into 14-hour workdays.
Right.
Which you sign on, you come in and sign on as like, oh no, I'm only here for 12. Like I'm only going to be here for my 8 hours. I'm coming in at 8, leaving by 5. If it feels like making you a 14-hour day, it's going to make you a 14-hour day.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what's happening for my nibbling.
Yeah.
They were doing, when they were 17, they were all under the law, but now that they're 18, they've been doing doubles at Wendy's, and they're working at Wendy's. And now they're stuck doing doubles all the time.
Yep.
They're making a lot of money, but they can't spend it anywhere because
can't do anything with it.
Yeah, they're always on doubles.
Yep. It sucks.
It totally does.
That's what they keep telling me. It's like, well, look, think of all this money. I'm like, it's not about the money. I don't care about the money. And they just get all like flabbergasted. Like, what do you mean? I'm like, I don't care that you guys need me for 14 hours just because you're trying to use money as an excuse. I would rather just come in, work my 8, and go home. And they're just like, and I was like, you can't ask a regular employee to always be working these hours.
Right, exactly. That's the problem. It's like
you do have a position within the shipping industry that signed up for this exact thing, where if there are 14-hour to 16-hour shifts, they will work all 14 to 16 hours. And you signed a contract to say, yes, I agree to all these terms. And that's the swing shift. I have never taken a swing job because of that reason. I never signed up for that, and they keep trying to ask us or force us to do swing jobs, and I'm like, nope.
Right?
And they're more mad about it because I'm being very vocal about it, so everybody that's around me, it's not a swing that's getting pulled into this, or realize, wait, we don't have to do this. I'm like, no, you don't. I'm teaching you I'm teaching everybody here a very valuable lesson.
Well, and that's the thing. So that's what's happened, I think. Everybody's been talking about how everybody's quit all of these jobs because they're making money off of unemployment or whatever.
Or because they don't want to work. Yeah,
nobody wants to work. That's not it.
No.
Finally, the market's gotten to the point where it is sort of a buyer's market, sort of, when it comes to employees.
Mm-hmm.
And so now people, because like you just said, 1 million people are no longer working. They're all underground now, buried.
Yep.
And that just all of a sudden has changed the dynamics in so many workplaces. And of course, the places that were hit the worst were the places where people were like, whatever, COVID's not real. And then like 50% of their employees would get COVID. And of those, you will lose a certain percentage. That's what COVID does. And so they were losing all these people. And just like you said, now we've got people dead, and then other people just moved on.
Yeah.
This company just lost 4 people, so I'll move up to this company instead of working at Wendy's. Why work at Wendy's?
Why would I do that? Why would
I suffer? And what needs to happen is
like it does. No, wrong. Like it sucks for like your everyday day-to-day life, because I have those same problems that people are having right now with the everyday day-to-day life. I used to go grocery shop at midnight, or when no one was around. But now, all the King Supers, Walmarts, and everything, they close at like 9, 10 o'clock.
Right.
I used to, like, all the late night people that work graveyards and whatnot would be able to go get decent food and whatnot during lunch. Now it's literally, if we're lucky, McDonald's. If we're lucky.
If we're lucky.
If not, you have to make your own food, which is fine. I'm perfectly okay with it. But, like, there's a lot of downfalls to it at the same time.
Oh, totally.
I'm just bringing that up as, like, as an advocate kind of feel to it.
Well, it's not that. I get aggravated because people, there is, it's one of those, I always feel like, well, if people are, on the wrong side of the thought process, I always feel like, well, at least I know that these people will ultimately learn their lesson, right? Then they don't, because they figure out a way to justify it. I mean, it's like, we got hit with the pandemic, people died, people moved on, and everybody's blaming Biden for it. And I'm like, I don't even know how you got there. You know what I mean? Like,
Republican versus Democrat argument, that's literally what it is.
I know. I get it.
I do too. It just doesn't make sense. I'm like, you guys keep blaming, like, I love the concept when everybody's like, oil's tied to politics. Like, it actually technically is, but it's the oil companies that are tying it to politics.
Right. And I mean, frankly, it's not like, I mean, I'm picking on Biden, but the truth is the liberals did the same thing with Trump. Everything was Trump's fault. And it's like, and I'm sure that Biden's doing things that suck, and Trump did things that suck too. I mean, I'm not saying that they're completely innocent.
Yeah.
But it's like, you just write it off. It's like, well, we just wrote it off as obviously the liberals are in charge, and so everything's bad, or the conservatives are in charge, so everything is bad. And it's like, nobody thinks it through. Nobody does the numbers. And I mean, this is pretty straightforward. We had a pandemic. Nobody worked for like 6 months.
Right.
So we're going to feel supply chain problems, and that's going to take time.
There's a lot of weird things right now.
Really large system. There will be supply chain problems for years.
Yeah.
No.
It's just, there's a lot of stuff that we're all dealing with. And it's rough. And no one really knows what to do to make it work. We're all trying to figure it out. At the same time, like, it's a lot of people will always tie politics to it, and always will tie, it's a Republican's fault, it's a Democrat's fault, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, is it really though?
Right?
I was like, is it also not maybe our fault that we let these companies just get way out of hand?
Right?
We are a capitalist city. We are a capitalistic nation.
Right.
We are also the people that let them get this big. We let them monopolize.
Yeah, it's frustrating because it's like, well,
Yeah, it's rough. I'm just, throwing those out there, but yeah, it's pretty crazy.
yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm not arguing. I just, yeah, I mean, like I was having this discussion with my uncle, and we were talking about the Roe v. Wade overturn.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, most of my conservative buddies are like, hey, it makes logical sense. We we weren't doing so good with letting the Supreme Court make laws, yada yada yada. But I'm sitting there looking at this going, well, wait a minute. Our two-party system means gridlock. So if you don't have somebody making actual law, then we're just going to be stuck in 1943 for the rest of our lives.
Isn't that what we just did? We just pushed ourselves back to 1943?
Well, that's what's happening is because the whole thing was the Supreme Court's like, well, we should have made a law and not put it on the Supreme Court. And I'm sitting there going, yeah, but without the Supreme Court, we're not making laws. You know what I mean? Like, there's no civil action going on here. So by making the precedent of it's not our job, that's Congress's job, then you're pretty much just expecting to never make any more laws ever again. We're just going to be stuck in 1943 forever.
Okay, I see what you're talking about.
So and so what they did was they undid one of the laws that actually changed the nation by saying we shouldn't have done this. They may be right. I'm not saying they're wrong. I mean, I agree our Congress should, but as long as we have a two-party system, which is based solely on the other guy's fault, so that they can constantly blame each other, so that nobody's blamed for actually not making progress, the system works really well. Nobody makes progress. Nobody has to make progress. And it gets stuck there. And that's an issue.
Right.
That's what I'm grumpy about. Because, I mean, I'm not disagreeing. I think that's absolutely true. It makes sense. There's nothing wrong with that at all. I agree. However, on the flip side, we've set up the system so that doesn't need to be that big. Make it 10. We've set up the system so that we can't do anything.
Right. Has Brian been consistent coming on here with you?
Yep, almost every day.
Nice.
He's not here today.
So what are you doing on mornings now?
Well,
I
so
thought your job was going to take over.
it's I'm 2 on, 2 off.
Oh, okay. 2 weeks on, or
2 weeks on, 2 weeks off.
oh, okay, that's cool. That makes more sense.
It's not
now.
even consistent. Like next week, I'm back on, but I'm only on Wednesday and Thursday of next week.
Okay.
And then the week after that, I'm on for the whole week. Then the week after that, it's just again another Wednesday, Thursday. So she's doing 8 days a month. right now, which is fine by me. That's perfect.
That makes more sense now. Okay, I was wondering. I was like, what are you doing back on? So
What are you
early
doing
this
here,
morning?
guy?
Like, I thought you had a job you just started back up.
Right.
I'm really confused.
Don't you have a job?
Like, I still do. That's cool. Okay, makes more sense. Speaking of another industry that changed, look at your time schedule.
Right. Yep. So that's a thing.
Cool. That works. Oh, I forgot to turn this on. Let's say that.
All right. Ready. It's funny. I'm trying really hard to not get politicky.
Right.
You know, really trying
Especially
hard.
at this, yeah.
But it's like this era right now. It's like it's hard to not get politicky.
Right.
Even my wife and I, she's really anti talking about politics. It just stresses her out.
Uh-huh.
But even she and I have been talking about this, and it stresses her out. But
She is. She's like, I have something I need to say right now.
Needs to talk. So it's like I need to talk. She needs to talk. We both need to talk. And so it's like it's interesting that even between the two of us, because I love to talk politics. I love to get into it because I like to figure stuff out. I don't
Right.
believe that this is all the liberals' fault or all the conservatives'
Oh
fault.
God, no.
Whatever, you know.
I think it's old versus new still is where we're at right now.
Yeah, I think we've got.
That makes sense.
I am of the opinion that there's a twofold problem here. There's the 24-hour news cycle didn't do us any good. There actually once was a law that said that you had to tell the news from both sides.
Mm-hmm.
I find it funny. It was our conservatives that killed that law in 1988.
Right.
And then it's our conservatives today that are saying nobody's talking about balanced news. I'm like, we had that. We had a law that said you had to do that. And Ronald Reagan's administration said, that's obviously too imposing. So we're going to get rid of it. So
We can get rid of that one. Okay.
Yeah. And now nobody has any obligation to tell the truth. Nobody has any obligation to present both sides. There's no obligation anymore. So nobody does, and now everybody's all super polarized. But I think the other thing is the algorithm is unmanned. I've been saying this all along. There's a documentary on Netflix called The Social Dilemma, and it's done by these guys who pulled in all of the original creators of the social networks, like programmers who were there at the ground of Twitter and there at the beginning of Facebook, and people who were working on the code, not Zuckerberg or whatever, but I mean like the guys who were actually coding,
not the owners, the people that actually made
the guys on the ground.
Yeah.
And the guys on the ground are saying all of them are saying the same thing, which is the algorithm is designed to show you things that are related to the things you like.
Yeah.
And anybody can pay for you to get into these spheres. So I can say I want to, let's say my target audience is Colt.
I wonder if that's what's happening right now, because like
that's exactly
the same way you said right there is that it's like I was on YouTube this morning watching like the little clips because they have like little TikTok clips now.
Mm-hmm.
I was sitting there watching some of those. I'm like, oh, okay, let's see what they got. And I'm just watching them, and then like certain things kept coming up. I'm like, this is totally not what I was expecting coming up in my feed.
Right. Well,
it's because someone's paying for it to get it up.
Somebody's buying it. That's the thing, and nobody's monitoring that.
Right.
There's nobody monitoring it. So if I were, let's say, a white supremacist group, I could target people who watch videos of white people, knowing that the demographics in there are you watch mostly white people, right? Which makes some sense.
Yeah.
You're a white male, you'll watch videos of white people because we tend to do that as humans. And what will happen, the algorithm will start steering you towards the videos that get more and more extreme.
Yeah.
And pull you away. If you're liberal bent, you'll watch videos that have a liberal bent to them. And so the liberal people will then purchase zones in there so that you will start pulling towards more liberal oriented programming. And so all of those, this is suggested for you, yada, yada, yada. I've been watching it on Instagram. I intentionally do not follow anyone on Instagram except for artists so that I can take a break and a breather. I mean, like even
you always just have just art when you jump on there.
Right. Like I don't even follow Berto because he's a writer, but he also is very politically charged.
True.
And so it's not Berto. I don't have any problem with Berto. I love Berto dearly. I just don't follow him on Instagram. I follow him on Facebook because my thought is if I'm ready to get into a fight, I'm okay with that. But if I want to just calm down and cool down, well, somewhere along the line, I followed this one cosplayer who has she has an OnlyFans and stuff like that. So now I'm getting a whole bunch of boobs all of a sudden. You know what I mean? Like all of a sudden my entire algorithm went super hardcore ecchi. And I'm like, and so I had to unfollow her. Even though she's a great cosplayer and nothing that she was putting on Instagram was X-rated in any way. But the algorithm the X-rated people had figured out that if you were following this one cosplayer, you obviously liked naked girls. And so they purchased that part of the algorithm, which then started, of course, someone like me who was like, well, I don't have any problem with nudity. I have no problem at all, but it's agency for me. If the girl wants to take off her clothes, that's cool. I'm fine. That's between her and her body. It's her. She can do that all day long. I'm okay. I have a problem with people who, the problem is some of those Instagram people take pictures of other people and post them. That's not their agency. You know what I mean? Like, I follow Joni Brocious, and she's another one of those who she likes to, she advertises sex toys and stuff like that, but she's also an excellent cosplayer and a super geek. And I dig both of those parts of her thing. But you know what? She's happy. She's perfectly content. She's comfortable with her body. I don't have a problem with this. But it's all coming from her. That's okay. Mm-hmm. When people take her pictures then and repost them, I've got an issue. Because that's not her thing, Right. So anyway, the long and the short of it is I've watched my algorithm slowly distort. You know what I mean? Like, really?
Yeah.
It's like slowly been twisting. And I'm like, oh, God. So anyway, that's what I think is happening. Is people are paying now to grab groups because they figured out how to manipulate the algorithm. So if you distrust the government, let's say, as an example, then when you're on YouTube watching a video of, it doesn't matter, airplane demonstrations, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, maybe you're watching the Blue Angels or whatever. If you already are distrustful of the government, as many conservatives are, then some of the videos on the right-hand side now are going to start being flat earther stuff, or anti-vaxxer stuff.
Right.
And it's going to naturally funnel you towards those bizarre, like, edge case sort of things. Mm-hmm. Same thing with the liberals. If you're a liberal and you've been looking up, liberal videos, you might be just watching cat videos, and it's perfectly okay. And there's nothing going on there. But over on the right-hand side are a whole bunch of, anti-gun, and even, all of the extremist, let's get rid of all guns sort of stuff. And those videos will be in there. And that's the reason why you have a lot of people who are arguing politics with videos from YouTube, is because that's where they've been sucked into these edge groups. And it's one of the reasons why we're polarizing so much is, it's these super charismatic people. It's the same reason why you get, people going to these mega churches and things like that, is these super charismatic people. They could sell you your own shoes. You know what I mean? Like, they're really charismatic. They're very, very good at what they do. And, it's like, so that's what happens. They do exactly that. And that's what I've made that realization. So now I'm no longer blaming people who are conservative or people who are liberal. It's not them. I think this is a combination of opportunists manipulating the social media algorithms, and the 24-hour news cycle, which started this whole thing where they just, the news people got bored. And so they have to come up with something. So they'll post out something because they've got to come up with something. And the fairness doctrine going down in
they don't care what it is. They're just going to post whatever.
They're going to post it. And then the fairness doctrine, which started in 1988 with telling news agencies that they no longer had to be fair about stuff. Mm-hmm. I think those three things are the elements that have put us here. What bothers me lawmakers are acting on it. That's what bothers me.
That's like one of the guys I was talking to from work. He came here from Indianapolis,
Right.
And he transferred here, and he was telling me, he was like, during them, blah, 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 they brought in so many cops for no real reason, but they have so many cops that just were brought in, and like now they all live there. So everybody that's a cop is like super bored. So they're getting everybody for everything, every little thing, and the ones that are really bored and just shitty people are attacking people.
Right.
Deliberately. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds about right. That sounds like right where we're at in this world right now.
Well, and that's the thing is, and even this like war between BLM and the police, it's not either one of their fault. Talking to a buddy of mine who's conservative, he was like, well, you know that all of the BLM leaders have multi-billion-dollar houses now, and they took all the money from the BLM stuff, and instead of doing, and I'm like, do you have proof of this?
Where'd you
And he's
get
like,
this information?
well, I saw it on a YouTube video. And I'm like, see, that's the problem. Who has proof of this? I am more than willing to believe it, but you've got to show me something more than a YouTube video where some guy screams on and on and on about how this is going on. And I think what's happening is you get police officers who believe this. I've got a buddy who's a Denver cop. And literally, anybody who's BLM, he literally thinks that they want to kill him. Yes. Literally, that's where he is in his mentality. On the flip side, people on BLM literally think cops are out to kill them. Now, this may be true, this may be false. Who knows? But the problem is that it's escalating. It started out with neither one of them wanting to kill each other, and now they literally are trying to kill each other. And it's all because of this polarization. That's what caused it. I mean, some of even when the instances of the situations when they were going down, when people were being, this guy, the guy that my buddy who's a cop, he and I were talking during one of these riotous moments when someone. And he was in complete agreement. The cops were way out of line. Mm-hmm. They were way, way, way out of line. And he was in agreement that they should have been punished. And he was in agreement that there was a mistrial of justice, that they didn't get punished and they got released. And he understood that. He had no problem with that. That part made sense to him. And, was in complete agreement that we needed to do something about that and yada, yada, yada. The thing that was fascinating was that he then started parroting all BLM did was set fire to the cities. Well, I have a buddy who's on the BLM side, and he's like, our leaders were specifically telling us that if we set fire to the cities, they will blame us for this. So we're not supposed to do that. And so our groups policed ourselves to make sure nobody was setting fire to anybody, to anything, and we were doing no damage to property. And it was critical. That was like rule number one for the subgroups, was to not do that. And so I believe him. Of course, he was there. He was out there doing protests here in Denver. And I believe him, and I believe that was the case. And I think that you had a third party coming in to cause trouble, and they did. And it got. I
think it was a mixture of third party and people that were
not part of the orderly group.
Yeah, they were bored. Like, got locked up for like 6 months or whatever, like 3 months, and then they were like, this is us sending it back to the system. And then I was like, that's actually not what you're doing, but okay.
Right. You're bored.
Awesome.
I get it.
This is where we're at.
I don't know. It's just fascinating to me.
It is. It's very fascinating.
Ramble. I didn't mean to dominate here, but I've got to wait for Daz to reinstall shit. So here I am trying to reinstall stuff, because this is. Oh, you didn't know. Last week my C drive finally. It wasn't my C drive. My C drive is fine. It was Windows 10. Windows 10 had gotten so corrupted that finally it was ridiculous. Like, the entire system was not running. It took on Wednesday morning, I got onto my show. I got onto this show, And at 8:50,
I saw something about you like starting for like almost like an hour.
Yeah, it was 8:58 or something like that, and the system was locked up. So I happy buttoned it, right? Pushed the happy button, and it took 68 minutes to get back to Windows.
Yeah.
I just sat here for literally an hour waiting for it to post. And I was like, okay, something's not right. And so I finally got onto the show, and Brent and I talked about it, and Brent funneled me to a new SSD. And then I got a new SSD, and we installed Windows 11 on it. But as I knew, this is exactly what the problem, of course, is that we're on Monday of the following week, and I'm still reinstalling things because, of course, I have my system sort of set up. And it takes like a year for me to figure out all the things that need to be set up in the system.
Right.
And not all of it works yet. And so you and I get to sit here and chat because I'm downloading Genesis Starter Essentials, something I didn't know I needed, but it's apparently a part of the interior of my shuttlecraft, which is what I need for this next scene. So anyway, yeah, I have a really strong feeling that we all would fundamentally agree on things.
What?
All of us, all of Americans fundamentally agree on things. Like even my conservative friends who are totally cheering on Roe v. Wade being overturned are not thinking I mean, I've got 2 or 3 friends that are like, yay, finally, life wins, yada, yada, yada. But they're 2 or 3 out of like 500. So that's a very small percentage of my buddies.
Right.
The majority of my conservatives, which is like 100 out of 500, are saying, yeah, we don't like what this did to the abortion rights. However, they did the right thing because they shouldn't be, the Supreme Court shouldn't be making laws, sort of thing.
Yep.
Which means that, okay, I agree, but you're not passing that law, and that law won't pass. I mean, going ahead, try to get Congress to pass a bill that says that abortion's legal, and you're never going to get it because the Republicans, you only have 1 Republican or 2 Republicans who are totally you will have that baby no matter what sort of pro-life, but they'll all block and stand in a block, and there's 50 of them in our 100-person Congress.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as there's 50 Republicans and 50 Democrats, it'll gridlock and you'll never pass it. So there's no way to pass the bill. It'll never pass. So you can't fix it. And I was putting out the numbers on Facebook. 60% of the Americans believe that abortion should be legal, 65%. And it's growing every year.
Right.
So the majority of us believe that it should be legal, but it's never going to come to us in a vote. It's never going to come down to the people on the ground.
Sadly, that's the thing, is we're never going to see it.
This is why I'm a big proponent of direct democracy. I'm becoming less and less happy with representational democracy every year. Unity is a direct democracy. In my
democracy?
A direct democracy. That means everybody votes on everything.
Oh,
Your representatives do nothing more than pen bills. They write the bill, then you vote on it.
I like that.
Yep. MPV floor is...
I could get behind that.
You could get behind that, right? I mean, like, that totally makes sense. Or is it under vehicles? I'll bet you it's under vehicles. Or maybe not. Oh, no, there's the MPV. That's outside MPV, not inside MPV. I need more Mecca, I've decided.
More Mecca.
Right?
More
Well,
Mecca.
Like I said, Bellatrix Rising is my dream of everything that I've ever liked in a thing. Well, I like transforming Mecca, so there needs to be more transforming Mecca. That's just the way it's got to be.
That's fair.
Right? MPV interior. There we go. We can figure this out. We can skip her. We can skip that altogether because oh my god, this is going to take forever. The problem is if I hit stop asking, it'll stop asking for the rest of the time that I'm running Daz. So my apologies for this. There's going to be a lot of turn you down real quick.
I was wondering what that was. I thought you were doing something else.
This is the new sound for Windows. This is the new error sound.
Nice.
I don't know why I didn't just make this a set that was a set. I should make a set. Because this is just going to go on forever. But I'm afraid it won't load the rest. Oh, you know what? It's going to take less time for me to just load the stupid thing and then go find the stupid whatevers. All right. Take you, delete, you, delete. You, delete, and you, delete. All right. And now what I really should have done, and I should have done this from the get-go, is take this entire scene and put it inside the MPV, and then take this and save it as a set piece. No, save it as a set. So what I need to do is in here say I can turn you back up now that we're not all the time. Create a subfolder, and we'll call this bang 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 matrix sets. And now I can
familiar. Yeah, those are mine. Okay.
Subset, go up one, go to Bellatrix sets and say MPV interior. Right? And then you everything except for the camera. There. Now from now on, when we're in here, all I got to do is just load the set instead of having to go through everything. Now I can just take and go Bellatrix leads, load Mayrail service legend, or Mayrail legend service uniform, put her in there, bring her forward. I've already made poses for her. Right? She's got the pose. So we'll do this. We have to put her in her chair. She is wearing a space suit, though.
I'll be right back.
Okay, you do you, boo. Nope. Nope. Already screwed up. I feel like we're kind of going over here, I think.
Alrighty.
Alrighty.
Okay, I'm back.
Yeah, we're coming up on lunchtime here in a minute. I'm thinking I'll be leaving pretty soon.
I was wondering. I was like, oh crap! I went, got my laundry started, all that other stuff. I was like, oh, all right.
Yeah, we're coming up on the end of the show. But that's all right. I'm doing a thing here. I'm trying to figure out stuff. There we go. So I discovered a trick, which is great for modeling. I don't know if you use Blender or if you use Maya, but right up here at the top,
Yep.
is this proportional editing. And if you click that, when you go into edit mode, you can grab one thing like this vertice, and it proportionally will edit depending on where your proportional editing is. Turn that on. It'll proportionally edit the whole thing. And you can use the look at that. Isn't that cool?
Oh, so it pulls all the other vertices
It
with
pulls
it.
everything relative.
Oh, okay. I think it meant proportional, like it shoots it down the center, and whatever you do to the right side is going to do to the left side.
No, that's mirroring.
There we go.
No,
Okay.
but this is proportional. So like it'll, like you could get it so that it pulls like her entire arm like this. That's so kick butt. Anyway, proportional editing is way awesome. But yeah, mirror is also a very useful thing.
No, I need to definitely play around with Blender more. I just haven't really put any time or effort into it lately.
Yeah, that's fine. But I've been kind of, and you can also set your proportional editing, by the way, to linear or sharp or constant or random or sphere.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that whenever it pulls the whole thing. It's like, I just want to get that looks like she's wearing clothes. Right? Because
Yeah, that sound right there, that was a truck.
That was a truck. I just want to get it so she looks like she's wearing clothes here so that she doesn't look like she's got, individual breasts, because of course that's not the way a uniform fits across the breasts. So
I don't know. Superheroes always wear skin-tight everything.
Right, exactly.
Shows every crease and fold.
Would you believe that, like...
which I still laugh at, actually.
Now I think about it, like when I was getting into comics, like, gays are awesome, and then the older I got, I was like, people don't understand what they're doing.
Right? It becomes like more and more creepy.
Yeah.
You go along, you're like, okay, maybe.
It's weird. It's weird.
Yeah.
It'll be like a zigzag right there, right behind the boob.
Right? And this is kind of wild, isn't this? Look at
Yeah,
that.
it's just like zigzag. I'm like, what the
hell is going on here? Like, what were they planning on putting there?
I don't know. But like, I see where like everything else should have gone. I'm like, what did you guys build?
Yeah, I mean, like, this makes some sense, all of this stuff kind of going around, but what's going on here? Is it because they're trying to get, I guess they're prepping to get into the armpit? I don't know.
Maybe. It might be a prep thing. So, like, maneuvering of the arm, you don't get as much problems with the geometry.
If you guys are wondering at home what we're talking about this weird section right here where it looks like the mesh is going back and forth and back and forth.
It's like a zigzag look too.
Like a really weird zigzag. Anyway, so I had done the original expansion of this, the arms for, I made a morph target for Daz. And my morph target now has the little reaction control thrusters in the arms and the legs and stuff like that. And that was really cool. But then I realized if I did it without the proportional editing, so I ended up having to like individually move vertices until they all fit and all that stuff. And now I'm like, gosh, if I had just done proportional editing, I could have done this in like no time flat. So now I'm kind of like, I kind of want to go back and redo it with proportional editing and see if I can't do a better job of it. However, I'm going to go get lunch. I'm hungry. I don't get to eat breakfast now because I'm back to trying to lose weight. So I don't get breakfast, so now I haven't eaten yet this morning. Oh, I lost you. You're back.
It's good though. Go get food.
Food is good. I'm going to go get food, and then we will do that. And thank you for joining me today, Colton. I appreciate it. Feel free to come on. We're doing it at night and during the day, at least for this week. I'm not working, so might as well keep doing both.
Okay.
You can just join in anytime. There's no.
Yeah, if I'm awake, it's.
Yeah.
I don't know what's been happening tonight.
That's all right.
I don't remember.
So we're running 10 to midnight at night and 9.
No, Tuesdays are no at night because I got the group with my school.
Yeah.
They still committed to that during summer, and I was like, all right, cool, I'm in. Gives me one night a week, at least I'm always joining.
And Brian generally will do like Saturday night's my D&D night. So he does Saturday.
Yeah, I saw you guys were on last night. I was like, it's Sunday. What the heck are you doing?
Yeah, well, we've kind of moved to every night. There's no reason
whenever you guys are free and you're available.
Yeah, I mean, usually we just go every night and every day if I'm free. And Brian can't do, he usually eats breakfast and stuff like that and doesn't get usually spun up until 10 a.m. So I'm actually kind of wondering if maybe we shouldn't do it every 12 hours. So 10 to noon, 10 to midnight. That just make it easier to remember.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, you decide that one.
Because
all I know is that I would always, like, 10 to noon, I'd have to leave because I have to be at work like at noon.
Right.
So I'd have to leave anyways. But
yeah, but you're not. You're usually not awake and stuff.
It really depends on how long I stayed up that night. Because if I stayed up later and it's like, oh yeah, no, it's fine. And the next thing I know, it's like past midnight. I'm waking up way past 9 o'clock.
Right. That's my thought. I'm like, We can figure this out. I'm not terrible.
I just need to get my motivation back. That's all. I'm just trying to get motivated.
Yeah.
I lost my motivation last Friday because as of Friday we got a different job, and they that was when they rejected me. They're like, nope, we decided to go with another candidate. I'm like, thanks. Which kind of put me like a quick little nosedive, and I was like, yep, this is life.
Yeah. That
Like, one
happened
day I'll
so
get out of
much
it.
to me in 2013 that I ultimately had to give up for my own sanity.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
like
hard.
that was a thing. That was becoming a thing. My wife was like, "You've got to stop. You're becoming depressed. You've got to stop." And I was like, yeah.
Right.
But it's a thing. It's real.
Mhm.
It's real. But I put out something like 1,500 resumes, and I got like 3 rejection letters, and that's it. The rest of them just never responded, never called, never wrote back, nothing. Just gone.
Yeah, I was saying this one I actually had to reach out. I was like, hey, you guys said you were going to tell me before Friday. It's Friday. What's going on? They're like, oh, someone should have sent you a message. I was like, oh, thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for the somebody there. Yeah.
Right. I'm glad you released it.
Yeah. So, okay, well, I'm going to go get lunch. I'll talk to
All
you
right.
later.
Have
Have
a
a
good
good
night, day.
I'll see you later. Bye-bye.
All right.